It's Wednesday, December 27th, and this is The National.
Tonight, blinding snow, wind chill, and frigid temperatures trigger extreme weather alerts right across the country.
Prince Harry behind the mic, his interview with Barack Obama on social media and life after the White House.
But we begin on Vancouver Island and tragic new details of two young girls found dead on Christmas Day.
And they were just full of life and fun and, you know, the kind of little girls that, you know, smart and just wonderful.
A sentiment shared by so many in the now shattered community of Oak Bay, British Columbia. People there are struggling to understand how anyone could take the lives of two little girls, sisters, so full of joy and energy. Now, at this point, police aren't saying much about how these two girls died, but as Briar Stewart tells us, everyone who knew them loved them instantly.
Flowers rest on the front lawn of an apartment at the center of a homicide investigation. As police come and go, it's clear this is a crime scene, but there are still so many unanswered questions. The biggest, why? Why were 4-year-old Aubrey Berry and her 6-year-old sister Chloe found dead inside on Christmas Day?
Horrible. You can't even understand how things like this can happen in the world.
Sandra Hudson saw the two girls just last week. She said they were bubbling with excitement about Christmas. Then on Monday night, she received a hysterical phone call.
I got a call to come to the Oak Bay police station when I was on my way home from Christmas dinner on Christmas Day. And when I got there, we were told that Chloe and Aubrey had passed away. It was the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Hudson is friends with the girl's mother and has been with her since. The two young girls were spending Christmas Day at this apartment with their father. Their parents had been separated since 2013, and a family member tells CBC News that there was a custody dispute. Neighbors now in shock recall seeing a family that appeared happy.
It was just a family that was nice. Interactions were very minimal. The dad and kids, they seemed happy. The kids, I saw them the other day, they were playing and happy.
The girl's father, Andrew Berry, is now in hospital with undisclosed injuries. Police are calling the girl's deaths homicide, but say they aren't looking for any suspects. This afternoon, a vigil was held at this church for parents and students. It was organized by Chloe's school. She was in grade 1, and parents and teachers are now trying to explain something so senseless to her young classmates.
It's extremely challenging to explain this to anybody. It's unfathomable. It's really going to be a challenge, yes.
But even with counselors and support, many will still grieve and grapple with just what happened to two young sisters inside this home. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Oak Bay, BC.
One of the passengers on that plane that crashed in northern Saskatchewan 2 weeks ago has died. Arson Fern Jr. was on board the Westwind aviation flight that went down shortly after takeoff from Fond du Lac. He was 19 years old, had cerebral palsy, used a wheelchair, but he was crushed by the airplane and had been in critical condition. He died on Christmas Day. And Adrian, you're watching the snow and cold that has gripped much of the country tonight. I can tell you here in BC, a snowstorm led to a nasty crash on Highway 1. This is near Revelstoke, shut down the road for more than 4 hours, and it was ugly. 6 people hurt, 2 critically.
Right. It's dangerous across this country. On the other side of the nation, it's the blizzards and the hurricane-strength winds that have really been relentless. Tonight, Newfoundland is reeling from a wicked storm and frigid temperatures. Earlier today, wind gusts near 120 kilometers an hour just overturned vehicles and damaged buildings. The rough seas meant that some ferry services haven't been running since before Christmas, and up to 50 centimeters of snow has buried the island's west coast and parts of Labrador. Now, the rest of the country is also in a deep freeze, courtesy of an Arctic air blast straight out of Siberia, literally. CBC's Evan Dyer has more on how people are coping and how long the frigid temperatures might just last.
As Newfoundland was hammered by those high winds, Halifax spent the day cleaning up after the same system tore through Nova Scotia a day before. It's busy times for roofer Duncan Armour.
It's been, chaos after that windstorm. We're getting calls nonstop.
About 2,000 homes in Nova Scotia are still without power, though. In Ottawa and the rest of central Canada, it wasn't the wind, but the cold.
It's so exciting. Oh my gosh, it's just like a dream come true. It's really exciting.
Gillian Mahoney of the Oakville Hornets came ready to play on the rink built on Parliament Hill to mark Canada's birthday. The game went ahead at -22. Players took turns thawing out their legs, while parents chilled out in the stands.
My brain's frozen.
Pinky toe freezes.
But after one period, the game was called off, to the relief of many.
I'm kind of happy it was cut short. It's really cold, and the ice is really choppy.
In fact, it was so cold, the ice was cracking.
It comes down to player safety, and really that's what this is. The ice became too brittle. We can't warm the ice up.
From Edmonton to Toronto to Montreal, a blanket of cold Siberian air settled over the continent, with extreme weather warnings in 6 provinces from BC to Newfoundland. The winds will blow over, but the cold could be around for a while. Ottawa's forecast to see highs around -20 and lows closer to -30 for the next week. Environment Canada's Dave Phillips says cold is like molasses.
It fills all the nooks and crannies and sticks there. It's hard to kick it out. So it has duration to it. It's not just a one-day wonder.
Indeed, Phillips says central Canadians should expect to start the new year still under this frigid system. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
And south of the border, snowfall records are falling as fast as the flakes. In Erie, Pennsylvania, more than 160 centimeters have come down since Christmas Eve. That's the biggest 48-hour drop ever. The last snowfall that even came close was 60 years ago.
I'm used to snow, but not this much at once. This is insane.
The city has declared a snow emergency. Police are urging people to stay off the streets, warning that roads are impassable. Crews have been running snowplows around the clock, but still can't keep up. Meanwhile, those who don't have to shovel have made the most of it. More snow is expected through the night and into tomorrow. Now to Syria now, where ISIS may be all but defeated, but fighting has only intensified between the Assad regime and the dwindling rebel forces that still oppose him. Thousands of civilians have already spent years caught in the middle. A precarious deal to save the most desperate means a tiny trickle has just now been allowed to escape. As Derek Stoffel explains, though, there are hundreds of thousands of people still trapped.
It is a mission of mercy in a country that has seen so much suffering. This girl is one of 4 patients evacuated from the rebel-held area of eastern Ghouta, just outside the capital Damascus, overnight. Some of the most critically ill have cancer. Another 24 patients should be allowed to leave in the coming days if the deal between opposition forces and the government holds. Eastern Ghouta is one of the few places in all of Syria where rebel forces are in control, but Syria's military wants to force them out. Syria's war has raged for nearly 7 years now, yet the rescue workers still rush in. Is anyone injured? He shouts. Some 400,000 people are trapped in the besieged eastern suburbs of Damascus. Conditions deteriorate every day. There's little medicine, food is scarce, and in many cases, it's children who are suffering the most.
These people have been besieged and bombed and living in the most atrocious conditions. But there is just a little chink now, and if we can get this ceasefire extended, there are peace negotiations starting up again in Sochi in the next few weeks.
But the upcoming peace talks in Russia are already in jeopardy, with opposition groups rejecting Moscow's proposals. Russia and Iran turned the war around for Syria's president Bashar al-Assad, whose grip on power now seems more solid than ever. Still, Turkey's president today called Assad a terrorist and says there can be no peace with him in power. But the immediate concern is for the sick in eastern Ghouta. The UN says nearly 500 patients remain in the area, and officials warn many of them will die if they aren't given medical treatment soon. Derek Stoffel, CBC News, Jerusalem.
Moving to London, and Andrew, Prince Harry has been making headlines there for weeks. Today, he is dominating the airwaves.
Yeah, Adrian, you could certainly say that. The Prince was the guest of honor at the BBC, and he was asked the Christmas question on many people's minds.
It was your future wife's first Christmas with the in-laws. How was it?
That was fantastic. She really enjoyed it. The family loved having her there, and you know, it's there's always that family part of Christmas. Was always that work element as well.
And speaking of work, Harry's account of Meghan Markle's fantastic Christmas with the gang was just part of his day. He was also guest editor of BBC's agenda-setting morning radio show, which featured his interview, pre-recorded, with former U.S. President Barack Obama. Neil Cooksall shows us how that played out.
You're excited about this. I'm nervous about this. That's what's quite funny. It's fun. I'll interview you if you want. No, okay. Let's keep it this way. I much prefer that.
The nervous prince, the effortless former U.S. president. For Harry, it's about finding his voice and identity, a young man with a powerful platform.
Part of my job is to shine a spotlight on issues that need that spotlight, whether it's people, whether it's causes, whether it's issues, whatever it is.
For Obama, it's about cementing his post-presidential brand.
I'm really obsessed now with training the next generation of leaders to be able to make their mark in the world.
A friendship budding for years, the prince and the president together is a combination made in marketing heaven. It's a deliberate contrast to Trump's America, to the upheaval of a mid-Brexit Britain. But here, where about half the country says they're indifferent to the latest news of a royal wedding, it's also a chance for the young royals not just to stay relevant, but to maybe have more than just ceremonial impact. After a bleak 2017, the timing is fortuitous. The royals, for those who love them, painting a picture of possibilities, energy, youth, a spring wedding for Harry and Meghan, a new baby for William and Kate. But this prince, with his mentor, the former president, want young people to do more, it seems, than take a pretty picture and post it online.
They don't think just sending out a hashtag in and of itself is bringing about change.
We get it. We get that a lot of you are hooked on social media. Right. But the important thing is that by liking something and sharing something isn't actually making change.
Right.
If you really want to make change, you need to look up from your family, you need to get out into your communities, and you need to stand up for what you believe in.
Do that, the pair says, and there'll be reason to be optimistic in 2018. Neil Cooksall, CBC News, London.
Now, while having a prince running the radio is unprecedented, handing the airwaves over to a guest editor has become quite the holiday tradition on the BBC. Stephen Hawking ran a show back in 2003. Bono took over the following year. Yoko Ono, Zadie Smith, Martin Sheen. Over the years, a number of big names in culture, business, and politics have had their turn. But this season, the BBC seems set on breaking new ground. In the coming days, Prince Harry will be replaced by a robot artificial intelligence modeled on BBC presenter Mishaal Hussain.
Lots more still to come this hour. We have two more editions of our Reporters' Notebooks, not robots, reporters. Beginning with Chris Brown, who met 3 little boys abandoned by their ISIS parents.
Bob McDonald has been making a list and checking it twice. Stick around to see if your favorite science story of the year is also one of his.
Plus, party ready on the outside and nervous wreck on the inside. Tips for handling seasonal anxiety.
It's a safe place to actually feel that you can make a fool of yourself and you don't have to worry about it.
We will have the whip in in the last block. I think we should update whatever we know on Abbotsford.
That's where we begin. Yeah, I mean, I think Andrew could also pick it up and just be like, "That's right, Ian. We're watching." You know.
It was weird.
Okay,
well,
thanks.
because Ian starts to introduce the museum.
Moly.
And I was saying to Meg that I think the shot needs to be a little wider so you couldn't actually see it.
I think it's about like introducing the set in Toronto and then they talk about Vancouver and Ottawa.
Right.
Randolfo?
Staying out of the camera.
Okay.
It's too late now.
Have a good show.
Never said. And it's just, I understand there's.
Would it be awkward if I was short of breath at this point? It's a long walk. So, according to the president, not a gun situation. Let's bring in Keith Wilkins in the Washington Bureau. And Keith, let's talk about the reaction in the United States to mass killings like the one we just saw.
I keep turning my head because, again, it's the... it's hard to... Well, it's just when I'm standing here, the right, what is, like, to me, that right edge of the camera cuts off the words.
5, 4, 3.
It is Monday, November the 6th, and this is The National. You'll notice some things are new tonight, including the fact we're coming to you from 3 cities.
On The National tonight, there is an investigation underway in Russia after a bomb exploded in a St. Petersburg supermarket. At least 10 people were hurt in the attack, and police say the bomb was loaded with shrapnel to injure as many people as possible. No word on suspects or motive, but just a few days ago, Russian officials thanked the CIA for a tip that reportedly helped foil a major attack in St. Petersburg. Police have launched a criminal investigation into the way first responders treated a Good Samaritan who was killed in Hamilton. At the time, witnesses said paramedics were slow to help 19-year-old Yosef Al-Saznawi, and that they'd even accused him of acting. He'd actually been shot after trying to help someone in an altercation. Police have since confirmed it took 38 minutes from the time paramedics arrived on the scene to when he was taken to hospital. And Nexen Energy is facing multiple workplace-related charges tonight after the deaths of 2 Alberta oil sands workers. Dave Williams and Drew Foster were doing maintenance work when there was an explosion in January of 2016. The company is facing 8 charges under Alberta's Occupational Health and Safety Act. They're accused of a series of violations, including not properly training employees.
Now, the holidays can be anxiety-provoking for a lot of people, and for the millions of Canadian adults who live with anxiety disorders, the stresses from holiday parties and family gatherings can feel particularly harrowing. Many will reach for a drink to help relax, but as our health reporter Christine Birak explains, that isn't such a good idea.
By all appearances, Catherine Barbizon is party-ready, but on the inside, she's feeling incredibly anxious about going out.
I don't last usually more than about an hour. I'm not a huge social person. I'm the type that I will agree to something and then the day comes and it's, how can I get out of it?
When she can't, she goes to plan B. Say a generic hello, find a quiet spot in the room and stay put. If not, all the people, small talk and questions can make Barbizon feel sick to her stomach.
It's an overwhelming situation and it's a lot of lack of control.
Anxiety is the most common mental illness in Canada. 1 in 4 Canadians will have at least one anxiety disorder in their lifetime. And more young people meet the criteria for mood and substance use disorders than any other age group.
The heart of social anxiety is fear of negative evaluation. So we're afraid that people are going to judge us, they're going to think there's something wrong with us, we're afraid that we're going to act in a way or show anxiety symptoms that would be embarrassing or humiliating and that people are going to reject us.
To cope,
hope a drink or two can sound pretty appealing, but studies have shown alcohol actually increases social anxiety and sadness just a few hours later, and it can prevent someone from dealing with their issues in the long run. Experts recommend wait 30 minutes before taking that first drink. In the meantime, be prepared with one or two ice-breaking questions and listen to the answers.
And it becomes easier the more we practice. So a big spirit of exposure-based therapy is to put ourselves in situations that create a mild to moderate amount of anxiety, and to do that repeatedly, and the more we practice that, the easier it gets.
You'd never know it, but everyone in this room is coping with social anxiety.
It's hard to feel anxious when you're in a state of play.
Cameron Algie never imagined an improv class could ease his fears and constant drive for perfection. Now he's helping others.
It's a safe place to actually feel that you can make a fool of yourself and you don't have to worry about it.
I'm a tree.
For Algie, it's about self-acceptance.
People come to class, I think, like I did, to fix something. And my hope is that they leave the class realizing that they're not broken.
And nobody's perfect. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
That does seem like fun. Okay, straight ahead on tonight's National. Where were you for the solar eclipse? We'll look at the major science stories of the year that caught Bob McDonald's eye.
And a reporter's notebook, the drama Susan Ormiston found at the end of a country road near Plattsburgh, New York.
Are you aware that the very minute you cross this border, your status in the United States is nullified? Yes. Yes.
Is there anything that you, in the way you approach your work, that changed after the staggering success of Pulp Fiction? Is there something you do different now that you didn't do then? Is there something you want to do now that you didn't then? No. I mean, what I'm saying is that was that significant a change? Was that a real fork in the road? That
No, it was an opportunity to now be able to choose better roles or get scripts at a different level. Say I now get things from the ground floor rather than once they've been conceptualized, picked up, put a director on. I get things now before there's even a director attached to it, or they even have a studio commitment. And it still amazes me that sometimes people do need me to get that kind of commitment from other people. So that changes in that way. But the way I approach the roles and the preparation that I do to make the role happen for me and to make it happen for an audience hasn't changed. That's one of those things that I kind of feel like, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I've achieved, I guess, this level of success because of the way that I approach my work. And I think that if I change it, something else will change. Maybe I won't get the same results.
And does that, that feeling that some movies need your name to get this person to attach to it, does that allow you to relax? Do you feel yourself allowing yourself to relax a bit and not agonizing?
I'm relaxed anyway.
So you never agonized even before that?
No. I always know that I am going to work for somebody. And whether it's in a lead role or a supporting role, those issues cease to be important to me. It's mostly about picking a story that I think that's interesting, and that number one, I would pay my money to go and see, because I'm essentially an audience member. I love movies. I pay my money to go and see them. And when I read a script, I read it like an audience member. Would I sit here and be interested, or do I know what's going to happen on page 75 and I'm only on page 12? So I'm making those kinds of decisions. And going into a role and the kind of people that I'm going to work with, hopefully the work experience is going to be great. I mean, I've had like a great year this year. I looked up one day and I'm doing this great dramatic scene, and I look across from me and, you know, there's Dustin Hoffman. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God, I'm working with Dustin Hoffman. But I'm in the middle of the scene, so I can't stop doing it to be in awe of that. And I do it, and I get through it. And it's great to look at him and see him looking at me like, that was great. You know, and that gives you another feeling of accomplishment, because, you know, I've watched Dustin for years. And then another day you look and there's Robert De Niro, and I'm doing the same thing. It's like, oh my God, that's Robert De Niro. And I'm doing a scene with him, and it's happening. And, you know, then last week, well, no, earlier this week, actually, I'm standing on set, and I'm doing a scene, and I'm talking to this character, and the character's reacting, and we're having this great scene. And right in the middle of it, I say to myself, oh, my God, that's Yoda. Look at that. So I've had a great year. I've gone from Dustin Hoffman to Robert De Niro to Yoda. So things like that mean a lot, you know.
I'm wondering if the the experience of producing Eve's Bayou was such that you wish to repeat it.
Oh yeah, well I have projects that are in development that are, you know, short stories that I've optioned, or novels that I've had optioned for me that are in development, and some of those scripts are about to come in. And not only will I be in them, I'll be one of the producers. So that's, you know, part and parcel of what happens. And I am now actively seeking projects that are specifically for me. And I guess in that comes the job of producing it also.
Time for one of our favorite holiday treats, a look back at some of the big science stories of the year. For that, we call upon someone whose interests tend to be out of this world, the host of CBC Radio's Quirks and Quarks, Bob McDonald. We met up at the H.R. MacMillan Space Center, right here in Vancouver. Okay, Bob, so here we are at the Space Center.
My favorite place, my favorite subject.
Yeah, well, surrounded by progress. We've got satellites all over the place, an actual NASA spacesuit behind me. Yeah. We asked you here, of course, though, to talk about some of the fascinating science stories of 2017. And I guess we should start by making clear, this isn't a ranking.
No, these are just 5 stories that I found really interesting this year and really caught my attention.
Okay, well, let's get started. So we're starting with a space story, and for most people this one might be a little abstract.
It is. It's gravitational waves, which were actually discovered last year for the first time, and there was a lot of hoopla about that. Einstein predicted these, and he didn't even think we'd find them. But they're ripples in space and time itself, like the space between you and I stretching and getting weird, and you know, they ripple right across the entire universe. Well, this year they found them again, because in science you need to find things more than once. Last year they found 2 black holes colliding with each other, which was great. This year they did a second observation. They saw 2 neutron stars, which are different from black holes and in a different place. So it shows that the technology works. They also were given the Nobel Prize for this work. So scientists realized this is important. This is the beginning of a new era of astronomy, because gravitational waves go right across the universe, and they're not absorbed by dirt and dust or anything. They can go anywhere you want, perhaps even back to the very beginning of time and the Big Bang itself. So every time we have a new way of looking at the universe. We started with light, we found radio waves, X-rays, all these different things. Now gravitational waves, who knows what we're going to find, but astronomers feel this is a new era of gravitational wave astronomy. So it's very exciting.
Okay, and this wasn't the only space story on your radar?
No.
Okay, so this next space story, this was a long time in the making?
Yes,
right?
Where the last one was the beginning of an era, this was the end of an era. The Cassini spacecraft spent 13 years orbiting Saturn, our most beautiful planet after the Earth, with the magnificent rings going around it. It not only told us about this gas planet, it's a planet that's lighter than water. It's all made of gas. And billions of little snowballs the size of your head, the size of your fist going around it, forming these magnificent rings. Cassini saw that in detail, but it also saw Saturn's moons, and Saturn's got more than 60 moons going around it, but 2 of them in particular. One called Enceladus, which is totally covered in ice, and the ice has cracks in it, and underneath the ice is an ocean, a liquid ocean, with that water spewing out into space. Cassini flew right through those plumes. It saw not only water, it saw organic chemicals. You and I, Andrew, are made of organic chemicals. Right. And it also saw chemicals that are similar to what we have here on Earth, coming from our hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean, where hot water comes up and there's all kinds of life around it. So is there life in this moon? We don't know, but it's really enticing.
Right, because did that change the way we see our own solar system?
Well, yeah, but life might be in worlds rather than on worlds, right? And then there's another bizarre moon that it saw called Titan that has lakes, rivers, and rain. but instead of water, like it does here on the Earth, it's methane. It's methane gas that turns into a liquid and forms these bizarre lakes, and they also think Titan might also have an ocean inside it as well. So Saturn is a stunning, stunning system. Cassini plowed itself into the atmosphere of Saturn to end its mission, but we definitely have to go back and do a little ice fishing on that moon.
Okay, let's bring things back to Earth.
Okay.
When it comes to smarts, man versus machine, 2017 wasn't actually all that great of a year for man. Right?
No, machines won. This is a program called Alphago, which beat the world champion at the ancient Chinese game of Go. This is more complicated than chess to play. It has more variables to it. And we've had computers playing games and beating people at chess for a long time. What was different about Alphago is that it learned the game itself. Usually when we teach computers how to play games, we give them all the moves that humans have done.
You teach them?
Yeah, so here's what humans have done. There's all the varieties, and the computer just says, okay, that looks like a good move, I'm going to choose that. They didn't do that with AlphaGo. They just gave it the rules of the game and said, here, go learn it yourself. And it did. And it learned it faster than had they taught it what humans do. And it even came up with moves that humans have never done. And it beat the world champion. And since then, it has beaten another computer, the world chess computer game. It's beaten that. So this is a new kind of machine learning. Usually machines learn because we teach them things. Here's what we know, and you do this yourself. But this is a case of a computer learning by itself, artificial intelligence. Some people think this is a little spooky. Do we want machines learning on their own?
Well, no kidding, because I mean, it makes me think, is every problem in life solvable? It's just a question of computation, and it'll get there eventually?
Eventually, yes. But the thing about these computers, they're really good at doing one thing. They're not going to take over the world. We're not building ourselves.
So you
These
say.
are specialized machines. But it's just a whole new level of artificial intelligence where the machines are doing their own learning. It's going to be very interesting to see where this goes.
Okay, well, let's keep on the theme of solvable problems. This is a big one coming up here. Bob, why was climate change one of these stories to watch for you for 2017?
Well, what was happening, Andrew, this year is signs that climate change is finally here and it's real. You know, I've been reporting on climate change since 1978. Since before you were born, I've been reporting on this. And they've been making all these predictions about what we're going to happen in the future. Well, the future is here. We had a hurricane season this year that had 17 hurricanes, which is not a record number. And the scientists said, we're not going to get more storms, but the ones we get are going to be stronger. And what did we see? We saw 3 major storms hit North America. We had Harvey, Irma, and Maria that hit Puerto Rico, doing terrible damage there. They hit Cuba, hit Florida, and hit Texas. $200 billion worth of damage. That's the most destructive storms in history. And the reason that they're stronger is because the Atlantic Ocean is warmer. And warm water is like rocket fuel for hurricanes. So they're stronger, and they're coming further into land. Usually hurricanes turn north. They come across the Atlantic and turn north. But now they're turning north later, which means they're going to hit land more, and even the remnants have come up here into Canada.
Right.
So that prediction's coming true.
You know, you talk about natural disasters. I'm a BC boy, so I think of wildfires, right?
Absolutely.
We had one of the worst seasons just several months ago, and down in California.
That's correct. So wildfires are happening because we've had dry summers. California's been in drought for almost a decade now, and everything is just tinder dry. And the ocean currents in the Pacific are changing as well. So the weather patterns are changing, and we're getting more wildfires, which were also predicted by climate change models. And we're losing ice. We hear about the ice disappearing in the Arctic. Well, we're also losing it in the southern hemisphere as well. And an iceberg the size of Prince Edward Island broke off the Antarctic Peninsula and drifted out to sea. So all the signs are here. Climate change is not a debate anymore. We got to get out of this thing about whether or not it's happening. It's real, it's here, and it's time to move on and do something about it.
Okay, let's move on, as you say, to this was a one-of-a-kind experience. This was a story that people had to witness very carefully.
Yes.
How did you go about doing it?
Well, the solar eclipse, this was my 5th solar eclipse. I've chased them all over the world. And you have to go to the path of totality. And this one went right across the United States. I drove to Casper, Wyoming on my motorcycle to see this thing. And it was just fabulous. What was neat about it is about 200 million people in North America got to see a solar eclipse. It's a celestial event. It's just a shadow passing over the Earth. Earth, but it's so spectacular to see the sun totally covered by the moon. It goes dark, it gets colder, you've got sunset gold all the way around you. People go crazy. It's an emotional event, and it's humbling because you realize that we're part of this great cosmos and we can't do anything about it. It's going to happen anyway. You see the sun as you don't normally see it, with this beautiful atmosphere sticking out of it, a silver fur that is the corona of the sun, and it's just a stunning, stunning event, and it was really great that so many people got to see this thing. Usually you have to go to obscure places.
Right.
And there's another one coming that Canada will be able to see in 2024. It's going to go through Niagara Falls and southern Ontario and up into the Maritimes, so maybe you'll get to catch that one.
Well, hey, you never know. You never know. Bob, always a pleasure to hear you talk science. Thanks for sharing.
You're very welcome, Andrew. My pleasure.
Now, we certainly don't have to wait until 2024 for more big science. Some things already on our calendars for 2018. On January 31st, a lunar eclipse. We here in Canada won't be in the path of totality, but if it is a clear night, most of the country should see at least part of it. November will be a busy month for astronaut David St. Jacques. After a 5-year lull, he will become the first Canadian to blast off for the International Space Station. And on January 4th, this is next week, happy birthday, Sir Isaac Newton. The great English mathematician turns 375. Okay, after the break, reporters' notebooks from 2 of our correspondents.
At Vancouver International Airport, the Christmas rush is well underway. Crowds of people gathering to catch flights, and many of them trying to get past security with items they shouldn't have. The Canadian Air Transport Security Authority's Mathieu Larocque says a huge pile of goods was seized just in the last 6 days.
There's a replica gun that looks very much like a real gun. There's big knives, big scissor tools that are very heavy that would not normally go in a carry-on bag.
There's also brass knuckles, daggers, and a small mountain of cigarette lighters. Even the bottoms of blenders are disallowed because they have blades. Airport officials say they understand some people may have packed in a rush, but they warn trying to bring restricted items in hand luggage will slow down the entire process. If you're wondering what happens to those thousands and thousands of items that are seized every year, well, they're taken here to the Vancouver Airport Thrift store. Unclaimed items end up on the shelves, raising money for a number of charities. For those looking for bargains, there's no shortage of low-priced scissors and pocket knives. But for travelers who want to keep the ones they have, the airport says pack them, don't carry them.
If they absolutely have to bring tools, scissors, knives at their destination, then check bag is the way to go.
The airport also recommends not wrapping any gift that will be carried on board. It's even offering a gift wrapping service to encourage people to wrap them after they go through screening. And the airport authorities' Reg Craig says be prepared for big crowds.
This is one of our busiest times of the year. We expect up to 60,000 passengers a day, even more than 60,000 on our very peak days.
He expects this will be the busiest December in their history, with more than 1.6 million people passing through the airport this month. Tim Week, CBC News, Richmond.
Plan ahead starts right from home. Thinking about what you're packing, checking in online, check the status of your flight online, even book your parking in advance, and check the weather, both in Vancouver and where you're heading to. Leave about an hour extra time just to accommodate for holiday travel, people on the roads, and getting to the airport parking and getting through security, all those good things.
We have to make sure it fits with the handle. No.
Okay.
We're on TV there, come on. There you go.
Can we just, ja, auf die Seite, genau.
Most time, passengers just forget. Sometimes they rush to do their baggage, and some things go in check bags, some things go in carry-on bags. So there's lots of stress involved with travel, especially at this time of year. So again, we just want to remind passengers to double check. Most of these items are permitted in check bags, but not in carry-on bags. So if they absolutely have to bring tools, scissors, knives at their destination, then check bag is the way to go.
On the runway, the plane is greeted by a remarkable sight. Anxious relatives rush the aircraft.
The ISIS reign of terror in Iraq and Syria left a string of terrible legacies. Chris Brown tells us about one of them in our first Reporter's Notebook tonight. He covered the story of the children of ISIS fighters who were abandoned after their parents were killed or imprisoned. And he told us how one country is trying hard to help.
These little children survived 2 years living under the Islamic State. Hamzat, Abdullah, and Malik are 6, 5, and 4 years old. Ziad Sabsabi rescued them, and he's bringing them home.
Я думаю, настолько они переносили, им придется несколько недель адаптироваться с человеческими условиями жизни. То мы находим детей, сирот, беспомощных.
Ziad was essentially a government bureaucrat, a very high-ranking one and very well known in Chechnya, but perhaps not someone who was ever seen as a humanitarian figure or someone who was ever attached in an emotional way to the issues that he was a part of. And that's what I found striking about this, is here was a man in his 50s who really became a grandfather to dozens, if not hundreds, of kids that he ended up plucking out of this war zone.
Without their own parents, the kids have bonded with him. Their radicalized Chechen father tricked the boy's mother into going with him to Iraq, where he fought for ISIS. He was killed. She was treated as a militant too and remains in an Iraqi prison.
He would go into the orphanages, he would, in some cases, would go into people's homes even, and look for these kids. He'd follow up on tips. He'd obviously listen for any of the children who were speaking Russian, and then he would go about trying to get them papers, and if there was any other issues, documentation and whatnot to wade through, he would do that. In the process was a heavy, heavy lift.
So far, Ziad has flown dozens of children out of Iraq and Syria, usually stopping first in Moscow and then on to Grozny, Chechnya's capital, where we're headed to on this flight. On the runway, the plane is greeted by a remarkable sight. Anxious relatives, including dozens of older women, grandmothers mostly, rush the aircraft. For a very few, there are happy reunions, including with the boy's aunt, Medina.
По-моему, все эмоции на лицо у нас. Счастье, конечно, счастливы, что их нашли, привезли. Огромное чувство благодарности на всю оставшуюся жизнь.
Chechnya is part of Russia, but it's a very different part of Russia. It's a very conservative Muslim society where women don't have a lot of rights. They, in some cases, married couples aren't even supposed to talk to each other. Men aren't supposed to be seen to talk to their wives in public. And so that's the kind of environment that these grandmothers, in many cases, would have come from. So just at the very beginning, it was very difficult for them to make their case to anyone that, look, there are these kids stranded in this war zone. Their fathers are dead. Their mothers, in many cases, are either dead or they're in prison. But we want these kids. And so these grandmothers put themselves out there, in some cases at great risk. I mean, in the past, people who have confessed to being related to an ISIS fighter in Chechnya, their homes have been burned down. They've been attacked. They've been treated as an outcast. There's a great deal of shame associated with having someone in your family do this. But these women were very brave and they came forward.
The day after the plane trip, we drove out to their aunt's home in the hills outside of Grozny to check in on them.
Mina zavut Chris.
I think one of the striking things is that as a dad myself with a son who's same age as almost as those boys, it's a very sad thing to just imagine what they would have gone through.
Medina says it's clear the boys are confused.
Они иногда бывает, мама говорят, потом на нас отвлекаются и нас мамами называют. Почти 2 месяца же не видели ее.
We saw that ourselves. Almost every woman who showed caring and tenderness for them, they called Mom.
I think this is a story that has some more chapters to it. Chechnya is a fascinating, intriguing, even dangerous place still, but these boys are starting, a fascinating journey, and we'll have to follow up. We need to go back.
These boys are lucky. They survived this war. The challenge for their families now is to make sure they don't grow up wanting to follow their father's path. Chris Brown, CBC News in Grozny, Chechnya.
More than a century ago, Plattsburgh, New York, was part of the Underground Railway for slaves escaping to Canada. Today, the city has become a kind of sanctuary again. Susan Ormiston went to find out why.
It's been a long ride in the middle of the night, even a longer journey before.
Where did you come from?
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
These are not ordinary travelers. They're on a pilgrimage.
You know, that story was what I call pure gumshoe journalism. You go, you see, you report.
This 30-minute ride has become an underground pipeline for people using the U.S. as a jumping-off spot for a chance at sanctuary in Canada.
Turn right onto Roxham Road.
Roxham Road is a one-way route out of the U.S. Just ahead, where the road ends, is the border with Canada.
So we arrived, we waited, and the story happened in front of our eyes. It was incredible. How did you find out about this route?
I got to see on the TV. Yes, and I went to Google, I went to search Google, and I figured out this is what everybody's doing, that Canada has a future for the children, for everybody. So that's why I want to give it a chance. It is a risk, I understand that. I want to take the risk because I know there's a future here for me and the baby.
Why don't you stay in the United States?
Because Donald Trump don't want me to stay in the United States. He said he doesn't want immigrant. I'm illegal in the United States because I only have visa. And if you don't want me, I cannot stay there.
I've covered refugees and migration all over the world in desperate circumstances from war. I didn't expect ever to see this on my border, on the border with Canada. People crossing into Canada is normal. We take in more than 300,000 immigrants a year, but this was abnormal.
As the shuttle arrives and those passengers clamber out, they collect up their belongings, everything they can possibly carry. The RCMP is waiting.
This is not illegal port of entry. This is an illegal point. This is not a way to come in.
Yes, we know.
Okay. Does anybody have a valid visa currently for the United States, even if it expires soon?
Yes.
Yes. Are you aware that the very minute you cross this border, your status in the United States is nullified?
Yes.
It struck me as theater is too big a word because it was definitely what they needed to do from the authorities' point of view, but it was certainly for the cameras.
Just because you come here doesn't mean you get to stay.
Yes, and we believe in this.
Yes. Do you have any questions for me?
No. We just want to come in. That's it. No. Please.
It is the power of storytelling that if you approach people with the right tone and at the right moment in their lives, they actually do want to tell you their story, and they want to tell you the most intimate part of their story at that moment, and that was Aisha. It just spilled out.
How long have you been in America?
Close to a year now. There's no job with 4 children. No job, nothing, no place to live. We used to go to church, to go to mosque, to beg for money or food for our children. Now they don't want to take them in school.
Do you have legal papers to stay in America?
I don't have legal paper. Right. I don't have legal paper. I left Nigeria with frustration. I get to America, it's even worse. Look at my kids. Please, we need home. We need home.
You need a home.
Our children need to go to school. In Africa, those children, they don't want them to go to school. They want them to go for Arabic school. At the tender age, they'll give them to man.
It was a wonderful exchange between a person with a real story to tell and a reporter who just happened to be there.
Do you think you'll be able to stay in Canada?
I can work. I can work. I'm an African woman. If I see job, I will do it. I want to take care of my children. I want better life for children.
Whether you call it border jumpers, illegal crossing, irregular crossing, migration, all that we had heard for many, many months in Canada was encapsulated in that moment. And I think for some people who saw the story, they began to understand that these aren't numbers, these aren't refugee claimants, they're not faceless people. Every one of them has a story to tell. But these are people at desperate times in their life, and they're looking to Canada for a resolution.
Canada is urging them to apply at the official border, the front door, but it's holding the back door open. And for migrants, that means at least 1 foot in. Susan Ormston, CBC News, near Plattsburgh, New York.
Now, we've also been asking the people behind CBC cameras to pick out their most memorable image of 2017 and then to tell us about it. Well, Washington video producer Jason Burles also covered a border story this year, the one between Texas and Mexico. And one day, a dramatic scene unfolded right in front of him, and he caught it all behind the lens.
I think good shots make you feel something, whether it's excitement or sadness or fear. I don't think I really thought about what we would encounter. We had been in Texas for about a week, shooting a documentary on Trump's border wall. And one of the border agents tipped us off that there were about 6 border crossers who were hiding on the riverbank. Then we see one of the Border Patrol agents take his dog for a walk, so I just started to follow him. And I had a wide-angle lens on, and I just got as close as I could. At some point, I sort of broke through the brush, and I saw these 2 guys in handcuffs being taken away. The best shots are when you're close, and that's when you get detail, and that's when you get sound. And at one point, it seemed like we made eye contact. And just for a split second, he just sort of looked over at me. I don't think it really occurred to me then in the moment, because I was so caught up and I was just trying to get the shot. But when I got back to the hotel and I looked at the footage, I saw this guy who was so close to the American dream. He was so desperate for the American dream that he swam across a river in his underwear, and it was over for him. And I think when you see something that's powerful, I think you feel it immediately, and that's what makes a good image.
And after the break, another image that caught our eye today. You might call it the truck stops here, but what could it be blocking?
Call it Tomi Mania. In the very church where Tommy Douglas preached, his adoring fans, many old friends of the man, gathered to cheer him on.
For every man, woman, and child, irrespective
After weeks of suspense, the CBC's greatest Canadian would be revealed. There was no doubt who the people's choice was here.
Well, I'm a strong supporter of Tommy Douglas. I think he's done such a great thing for our Canada. He's an amazing man.
A woman tells me her doctor.
Douglas was Saskatchewan's premier from 1944 to 1961, but his greatest legacy, championing universal health care.
Medical care is so important that it ought not to have a price tag on it.
Glenn Rasmussen worked on Douglas's election campaigns.
There's great Canadians, but I think he is one of the greatest.
Is he the greatest?
I think he is the greatest.
It was time to find out if enough Canadians agreed.
Tommy!
It's right. It's absolutely A1. And he's the right choice. It's just absolutely perfect.
The people have really spoken, and it shows what a great man he was.
Tommy Douglas never became Prime Minister, but in this contest he beat 3 of them. And nowhere was the victory sweeter than here. Dean Gutile, CBC News, Weyburn.
Didn't have politicians arguing for politicians, etc. And I thought it was great to see Terry Fox do as well as he did. So, but again, I think it was fairly predictable to see someone like Tommy Douglas to win. So, but overall, it was entertaining.
My wife and I voted for Banting, but he came 4th. So, no, it was a good idea. Good. Nice to have a different perspective on things, and it gives you something to watch since there's no ice available.
Well, I thought it was kind of a big disappointment because Don Cherry didn't win. Neither did Wayne Gretzky.
On the National tonight, a nightmarish scene at the happiest place on Earth. On one of the busiest weeks of the year, a power outage at California's Disneyland knocked several of the park's most popular rides offline. Now, no one was hurt, but a number of people had to be taken off stopped rides. Disneyland says a transformer problem caused the outage. And a group of co-workers in Montreal is celebrating tonight after a big win. They picked up their checks today after winning Friday's $60 million Lotto Max grand prize. They're 9 people, so each share is almost $7 million. And according to Quebec's gaming authority, they all work in finance in downtown Montreal.
Wow. You will probably remember this video we brought you a couple of weeks ago when a bus just ruined the Weather Channel's footage of Georgia Dome's demolition.
Get out of the way, bus! Are you...
Well, history has a funny way of repeating itself, this time to a CNN cameraman, and that is our moment of the day. So President Trump spent his 2nd day in a row golfing in Florida, but today this mysterious white box truck shows up, blocking camera crews from filming him hitting the links. And when the cameraman moved, the unmarked truck did too. This isn't the first time reporters have been blocked from covering the president's round. In February, black plastic was placed over windows and doors to give Trump privacy as he golfed.
Right, and Adrian, of course, the bigger picture here is that this is a man who was deeply critical of Obama when he would go golfing as president, and so the current White House administration doesn't exactly publish Trump's golfing schedule. But the funny thing is, so the U.S. Secret Service, they deny being responsible for the white truck, and they say they're not in the business of commissioning vehicles to block the media's view of the president's golf swing.
Right, but dollars to donuts. The Secret Service knew all about that truck. You do not park a large truck a few meters from the president without the Secret Service knowing. So something's going on there. Anyway, listen, that is the National for December 27th. Good night.
Good night.